Good deal. We are rolling. So good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining along for today's course selection preparation for, dear goodness, 2023-24 school year. Can't believe we're already talking about that, but here we are. It's not too early to plan ahead, right? So this is first off, just an overview of what we're looking at today together. You are going, and this is in preparation for tomorrow when you will enter your elective course selections for next school year. Your core classes and the add-ons that we'll talk about shortly will be edited by your school counselors later. And so when it comes to actual, the screenshots that you will see momentarily in this presentation, those screenshots are just your elective selections where you'll enter your elective selections. And then there are some add-ons that need some further consideration, some further conversation individually or in small groups, or an approval process of some kind. And so those will be tweaked later, but they will require further, after you express initial interest, there will be some additional action on your part or on the counselor's part to process that interest. But those add-ons will not be something you put on your an Infinite Campus like your elective selections. So we'll make more sense of that in a moment. But yeah, I'm going to say this a few times through this presentation. Those add-ons and your elective selections, the opportunity window to make those is through noon, January 9 of, can you believe it, 2023, when we return from break. That is the day we return from break. I'll send a reminder probably that when the staff are in the building on the 6th, just so y'all aren't caught off guard by that. All right, so a few things to get your gears turning about as you consider your course plans for next year. First off, again, your counselors are going to take care of your core courses. So don't worry about your core. There are a few ways you can modify them, but again, you're not going to tweak those yourself in your course plan. That's something that the counselors will do for you as you express interest in various opportunities like honors and dual enrollment. So let's get into those add-ons. First off, honors classes. If you already have honors in a given subject, those are going to roll up automatically year to year. One exception or a couple exceptions to that is if you, a parent or a teacher, let us know by, let's say, May 1 that you don't need to worry about honors in that subject in the future year. Say you're really struggling in that honors class, maybe bit off more than you can chew, or you just need to dial back and not spread yourself as thin next year. That's something you can let your counselor know or let your teacher know, and they'll let your counselor know, and we'll modify your course plan accordingly for next year. That also means, though, if your teacher can recommend that you're not continuing in honors next year, that's something worth making you aware that if you are not performing, if you're in an honors course and you're not performing to an honors level, that's a case where your teacher may take you aside and say, hey, here's the honors rubric for being approved for honors year to year, and we need to talk about your performance and where maybe things aren't quite up to par. And there may be a further conversation about keeping honors, if there's a way to recover, turn your situation around and stay in honors after all, or there might not be. That's going to be an individual conversation. Now, on the other hand, that's if you have honors already. If you want to add honors in a subject you're not taking honors in already, then use the add-ons form, and that is found at tinyurl.com/nm-add-ons. NM add-ons. And just a quick note for those of you who are thinking of even higher rigor for your core in the form of dual enrollment, make your honors selections as if you won't be taking dual enrollment. Okay, and that's helpful so that we can go through the approval process in the background on your behalf and get that honors approval in case your dual enrollment doesn't work out, or if you change your mind on dual enrollment before committing. So make your honors selections as if you won't be taking dual enrollment if you're considering honors or dual enrollment in the same subject. All right, speaking of dual enrollment is, in case you don't know, it's an opportunity to take college classes in high school for free and earn credit at both levels at the same time. And we do talk a little more about that in detail at multiple points of the year. For example, Miss Watkins, our dual enrollment counselor, just had an orientation for our upcoming the students who are starting dual enrollment in the spring, I believe, just this last Friday. I believe it's too late to join for the spring, but right now, when we're presenting today and tomorrow and talking about dual enrollment, we're talking for next school year. So anyway, this does impact your core. It's something that we generally are setting you up with dual enrollment as core classes. So for purposes of entering elective selections in your Infinite Campus course plan, you're not going to be making tweaks, switching out your core classes for dual enrollment versions. You won't have to do that. That's something the counselors will take care of. But what you do need to do if you're interested in dual enrollment for next year is to submit the add-ons form. And again, that's at tinyurl.com/nmadd-ons. Also, before we get to a point of commitment on that, we will host a dual enrollment info night early next year, next calendar year, not next school year, early next year. We'll aim for probably January sometime. But if you can't tell, the time and date are to be determined and announced. But we will make that announcement very clear leading up to that event. So you and your parents alike can learn more about the requirements and the challenges of dual enrollment, along with the benefits of dual enrollment. Now, again, I want to stress, if you are considering honors and dual enrollment in the same subject, make honors selections as if you won't be taking dual enrollment, okay? All right, moving on. World language credits. This is another add-on moment, okay, where it's not something you change in your Infinite Campus course plan, but something that you express interest in, and the counselors will step you through those next steps in a later conversation. But to frame that, I like to remind people world language credits are not a high school graduation requirement, but 2 credits of the same world language are typically required for admission to a 4-year college, especially in Georgia. For that reason, we automatically register you for Spanish 1 in your 11th grade and Spanish 2 in your 12th grade years. And that just keeps the doors open for your higher education opportunities. Yeah, and we only modify that generally if you look at, talk to us more about either of these following options. So those options are, if you are already natively fluent in Spanish, consider Spanish test out. You can get credit for what you already know and not have to sit through those 2 years of a class that you already have mastered the material for. So that's something we would, if you express interest in that, we would communicate further about test out appointment in the Media Center with Dr. Hicks. On the other hand, if let's say you're not a native Spanish speaker, you're not needing world language credits for your higher education plans. Let's say your career of interest doesn't require a 4-year college degree or higher, but maybe something more like I'm going to an apprenticeship, I'm going to technical or trade school, or perhaps the military. Options like that for after high school don't generally require world language credits from your high school experience. So you can opt, if you know that, you can opt out of Spanish and just not take it, not get credit for it, have room for other things. Now, if you want a different language altogether, moving on to this third item here, that's something in the add-ons form, or you can talk to your counselor. Usually what we use for that is Georgia Virtual School. There is a high bar for entry into that because it is something that, even though we would give you a lab period to access that course, it is you have to otherwise be very self-starting, self-motivated, and even our high performers have trouble keeping on with that across the year and seeing that course through and succeeding in it. It is a rigorous course method. So anyway, any of these options. And if you want to start Spanish sooner than your junior year. So if you're one of those entering 10th grade next year and you want to just get a jump on that early, you'll have a way to change that in your course plan. You can X the Spanish 1 from your 11th grade column and type it into your 10th grade column instead. Now, otherwise, if you wanted to test out, if you're interested in opting out or trying a different language through Georgia Virtual School, are you picking up on the pattern yet? Use the tinyurl.com/nm add-ons. All right. And this isn't something you have to take action on at all. This is just something worth knowing. For Hope Scholarship purposes, they require that graduates earn credit in 4 Hope Rigor courses as part of your Hope Scholarship or Zell-Miller Scholarship eligibility, in addition to hitting a certain GPA on your Hope GPA. Now, this is just for your awareness, but know that you don't typically have to worry about the rigor credit count because typically you, as part of your graduation plan here at North Murray, you're earning 5. We usually schedule people for 5 rigor courses, Hope rigor courses, and those include physics and chemistry to meet your science requirements. Algebra 2 is a named math requirement for graduation, and pre-calculus and college readiness math are common ways we meet the 4th math requirement, and Spanish 2 for those of you aiming for 4-year college program readiness. Also, any dual enrollment academic course counts as a Hope Rigor course. So again, this is just for your awareness, but typically you're going to meet that minimum of 4. Moving on, work-based learning. This is something for 11th and 12th graders only, rising 11th and 12th graders, and it's where you can leave school early, and that's in recognition for your things you're doing at the workplace and applying the employability skills that you've learned in your pathway courses here at North Murray. So again, if you're interested in work-based learning, tinyurl.com/nm add-ons. You will get this link, by the way, in other media than just the screen you're watching now. I'm going to send these resources that we're looking at today and more at about midday today to the student body. And just like some of these other opportunities, when you're selecting your electives, select them as if you won't be taking work-based learning. Again, it could turn out you're not approved for work-based learning down the road, or it won't fit in your schedule. And so make your elective selections tomorrow as if you aren't taking work-based learning. But if you're interested in work-based learning, still apply for work-based learning, right? It's contingency planning at its finest. Now, where the rubber meets the road, when we make selections tomorrow, everyone must keep this in mind. You need to complete a career, fine arts, journalism, or advanced academic pathway to graduate. Anyone who needs to in Murray County Public Schools. So with that in mind, when you make your selections tomorrow, make sure your selections include forward progress towards pathway completion. towards pathway completion is a key operating term there. If you're a rising 11th or 12th grader, adding an intro course isn't very realistic, right? Because you'll be starting the intro next year and the pathways take 3 years, right? So it's going to be tricky to get level 2 and 3 when you only have, you know, the year after to fit them in. It doesn't generally work that way. Anyway, now this piece was a time permitting piece, a preview of what the elective selection process will look like. And so here's what that screen looks like. Most of you have gone through the course selection process before, so this won't be new. But in the resources that I send out, I'll include these slides so that you can walk through this course selection process preview independently and not be jumping in blind to tomorrow's activity. So I hope this is helpful information. And a reminder, we are going to have these selections, these resources, this slideshow, as well as some handouts, digital handouts that will help you digest your selections your selection decisions between now and tomorrow when we actually make selections. So thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for listening. I hope this is helpful in getting your gears turning for tomorrow's activity. Have a good one.